Yes! All right, so here's the drill. I just completed my NFL mock draft, my fourth mock draft post combine, and I finished up the mock draft and I completed it 1 through 32. Actually, I made a 2-round mock draft. I just released picks 1 through 32, and the 4 teams that did not pick in the first round, I gave you those picks as well. Great video. As soon as I finished the video, I see that Trent McDuffie was traded to the Los Angeles Rams. I'm just going to break it down real fast. If you're a Los Angeles Rams fan, you don't know who Trent McDuffie is. He is one of the best corners in football. Top 10 easy. I would say somewhere between 6 and 10, maybe top 5. He can do everything. I think his biggest ability is that he can do everything. You get a guy, if you just want him to play man, he can play man. He can play zone. He can blitz. He tackles. He can play inside. He can play outside. He really can do it all. And without McDuffie, I'm not really sure the Chiefs don't win the 2 Super Bowls he was a part of. I'm not really sure. Jesus is King. What's up, brother? So you're getting a very, very, very good player. And if you check out my mock draft, which I hope you do, you're going to see that at pick 29, I had the Rams taking a corner. And at pick 29, I also predicted the corner would be a day 1 starter for the Rams. And if you're a day 1 starter for the Rams, I also said, please watch the video, check it out. But if they draft a tackle and they get a corner, they would be my Super Bowl favorites. So the Rams that pick a number 13, if they go ahead and pick at 13 and they get a day 1 starter at right tackle, really good player, and with McDuffie, they are probably my Super Bowl favorites. Now, what does Kansas City get in return? They get the Rams' first-round pick this year, pick number 29, a 5th and a 6th round pick, which is huge because Kansas City does not have a pick in round 6 or 7, and now they have 3 picks in round 5. Kansas City's done some really good things with the late-round draft picks. You could take a look. Matter of fact, Justin Watson is a free agent, is a 7th-round draft pick. It makes me think that there is a possibility Justin Watson will be re-signed. I actually don't think so. I think they'll let him go in free agency as well. And then a 2027 3rd-round draft pick. So the Chiefs are getting excellent compensation. It's kind of funny because what happened was the Chiefs got McDuffie part to the Tyreek Hill trade, and because New England didn't want to trade with Buffalo, they traded with the Chiefs. The Chiefs had to trade up the draft Trent McDuffie in the draft. The Bills wanted the trade, and New England, with Bill Belichick, just said, no, we're not going to trade with you. We're going to trade with Kansas City and take less compensation. So it's kind of funny how things like that work. The compensation favors Kansas City, but this trade makes the Rams the favorite to win. They're right now my 2026 favorite to win the Super Bowl. And the problem is that for people that are anti-Rams, the Rams still pick 13th. The Rams still had the 13th pick in the draft. Their only weakness was at corner. They got a Pro Bowl cornerback now. What does this mean for Kansas City? Kansas City does get pick number 29. They do really good in late rounds, so a 5th and a 6th and a 2027 3rd. I personally think that what Kansas City is going to do, and I said this also in my draft video, is that I think Kansas City may try to trade up in this draft, and I'm looking specifically at pick number 5 that the New York Giants hold. I think the Giants would love to get a first-round pick in next year's draft, which I think Kansas City would be more than happy to give up. But I also think that 2027 third round pick could be part of trade compensation, because I think that Kansas City could trade up to 5. And believe me when I say this, I don't think that they're going to stay at 29 either. I think the Chiefs are going to use that pick and they're going to trade up in the draft. So that's kind of my opinion of what the Chiefs are going to do. This does make the Rams the favorite. Are they giving up too much compensation? The answer is yes. But when the Rams won the Super Bowl, they gave up too much compensation for Von Miller, and it worked. The Rams are the favorite to win the Super Bowl for 2026. That's not in question. They have the 13th overall pick in the draft. This is a really good draft. Their biggest weakness was corner. They got one. A top 10 corner, I would say 6 to 10, maybe 5 to 10. And look at this here, folks. The B in the Back Talk brothers. The great one. The talent. Gooch. Yeah, I just came on live. I saw the Trent McDuffie trade after I did my mock draft. The draft was already completed, already posted it. I go see, hey, let's take a look at what happened in the NFL. Probably nothing big. And Trent McDuffie's a Ram. So that's where we're at. That's where we're at. What this means for the Rams is they are now Super Bowl favorite. What this means for the Chiefs is they got a lot of work to do, because the Chiefs pick at 9 and they pick at 29, and now they need a corner. They need a right tackle. I think they need a running back, and they need a receiver. So they got a lot of work to do in the draft. So the Kansas City Chiefs, what do they have? They have a lot of work to do. The Rams are the 2026 favorite to win the Super Bowl. And so that's kind of where we're at right now. So congratulations on the Rams. I didn't touch base on it. Let me touch base on this really fast here. The Rams have a contract in play. You don't make a deal like this and just say, well, we hope he'll sign. No, McDuffie. So here's the winners of this trade are the Rams, Trent McDuffie, and Kansas City has some work to do. Now, keep in mind, when the Chiefs traded Tyreek Hill, Chiefs got a couple Super Bowls out of it. Okay, so that's what you're looking at. But the Chiefs hit on those draft picks. One of those was Trent McDuffie. So the Chiefs got 4 draft picks. And that 2027 third, you can use that to trade up in this year's draft. And there's a very good chance that they will. But I think it's much more likely that what you're going to see is the Chiefs try to trade up with the Giants. And more than likely, they're going to give up their first round pick in 2027. And I would look for this to happen. And the reason why I would look for this to happen is I think the Giants want to stockpile draft picks just in case Jackson Dart's not the guy. Then you have 2 draft picks, and you could say, hey, look, we're going to draft our quarterback in next year's draft. By the way, there is a Manning coming out in next year's draft. So that's kind of why you want to get that compensation. So Dre, what's up, brother? I think this trade is a mistake, Dan? No, I do not. I do not think it's a mistake. The Rams win this trade in that they are the Super Bowl favorites. The Chiefs win this trade because they got 4 draft picks, including a 1 and a 3, and the Chiefs have always done well in late round draft picks. So it's kind of a win-win. For 2026, it's a huge win for the Rams because they are now the Super Bowl favorites. That's not in question. The Chiefs, when they traded Tyreek Hill, they used that draft capital to get players that won Super Bowl. So the Chiefs have some work to do. Do I think it's a mistake? No, I do not. The Rams are the 2026 favorites. That's not in question. The Chiefs have some work to do, but keep in mind the Chiefs have done pretty good in the draft in the past. Do you think you can get the lane from LSU? That's a generational talent. Okay. Andre, if you haven't had a chance yet, check out my mock draft. I should have put it in the comments. I did not, but I released my mock draft just a few hours ago. And you could get Mansour Delane from LSU. The Chiefs pick at 9, and you could draft them at 9. Do I think the Chiefs will do that? No, I do not. I think the Chiefs, the way that these corners are, this is actually a really good corner class. There's a lot of corners. I don't think that they're going to take the lane at 9. And is it because he's a generational talent? No, it's just a hunch. I don't think the Chiefs are going to draft a corner at 9. And the reason why is that the Chiefs have found corners in later rounds. You got L'Jarius Sneed in round 3, Joshua Williams in round 4, who I always thought maybe had a better career at safety. The Chiefs haven't come out publicly and said that they're going to move him to safety. That's just something I see because he's big, he's physical, he's fast. It just hasn't all come together. You got Jalen, so you get from he was a 7th round draft pick, and I can't believe I forgot his last name. I'm bombing here. God. I have to look it up. I'm Jalen Watson. Sorry. Sadiq in an Andy Reid offense. I see Division Dan. Yeah. So Andre, I hope you just popped on it real fast. But bottom line, I do have Sadiq as the pick for the Chiefs at 9. So here's the drill. You have Kristen Fulton. He's on year 2 of a 2-year deal, most of last year. But if he has a good year this year, he's going to get a lot of money. Chris Roland Wallace started to look really, really good. Noah Williams, 3rd round pick from last year, looked really, really, really good. But Jalen Watson and Byron Cook are free agents. We have to figure out what we're going to do. I think we're going to lose Watson. But, yeah. And by the way, I hope that you checked out my video real fast. I put the chapters in so you could just skip. But, yeah, I don't think they're going to take the lane. But yeah, I'm glad you liked it if that's the case. So I just wanted to come on. I'm going to do it live. I'm going to do it just straight from the hip. I was floored when the Chiefs did this, but I get the logic behind it. The Rams gave up a lot, but they are now the Super Bowl favorites. Chiefs have to get to work on this. What will the Chiefs do in the draft? I actually think that they could trade up at 9 and 29. I think that's a very good possibility. I was going to ask, was last season a down year for McDuffie, or is this more so you need the picks to fill holes on the team? No, I don't think it had anything to do with McDuffie having a down year. I didn't think he had a down year. I think that he's somewhere between, I'll say 5 and 10 of the best corners in the National Football League. And it's really, this trade comes from this. The Rams need a corner. That's it. And let me rephrase that. So their right tackle retired. So they need a right tackle. They can kind of fill that, but they really need a tackle. They pick at 13 and 29, 9 more. But anyway, so they pick at 13. By the way, the Rams had draft picks to burn. So this is a situation where the Rams don't mind overpaying for a player because he's going to fit perfectly into that system. The Rams are a favorite. With the Chiefs, it's a combination of things. Number one, they probably can't afford him. It's a cap issue. And number two, they're getting a ton of draft picks. As far as player versus draft capital, the Chiefs win this easily, but the Rams, when the Rams gave up too much draft capital for Von Miller, they won a Super Bowl. So how do you want the Chiefs to address the running back room? I personally would like to see the Chiefs go in through free agency. Trevor Etienne is a name that I really like. I think he'd be a great fit in the Chiefs offense. There is another player though that I'm really, really, really high on. And I just had a brain freeze. I apologize, but Rachaad White from Tampa Bay, he's being squeezed out. He's a local kid. He went. This probably doesn't mean anything to you. He went to high school in Raytown, a suburb in Kansas City. But I've always been a big Rachaad White guy. I watched him at Arizona State. He's a 3-down back. I would like to see Kareem Hunt re-signed. Either Rachaad White, because Rachaad White you're going to get cheaper than you are going to get. I literally just said his name. I quite literally just said his name. This is what happens when I just shoot from the hip. Travis Etienne. Sorry. But those are the two guys I would target. And if Etienne, you can't make it work money-wise and you go with Rachaad White, I would personally love to see the Chiefs re-sign Kareem Hunt. And then keep in mind, one of the things that the Chiefs did last year is, that the 7th-round pick out of SMU, another name freeze I'm forgetting. It's just that really, really like that kid. Rashad Smith. It's about them. They got rid of Taylor too, man. He just never learned. It's crazy because last year I felt like the best version of Mahomes I've seen in a while. You're right. With Taylor, he played pretty well, and I thought last year was the best year he played. The Chiefs gave him superstar money, and he didn't play a superstar. The Chiefs gave him elite money, and he just as far as and by the way, Jawan Taylor is going to re-sign with another team, and he's going to be a starter. He's a starting caliber tackle, but maybe even a top 15 right tackle, but the Chiefs gave him elite money. He's not an elite player. Plain and simple. But you're right. I thought it was the best version of Mahomes. It's really a shame because the receivers he has are just substandard. And then when Rashid Rice came back, he just wasn't the same guy. We got this kid, Jalen Royals. I was super high on him, and I have no idea why the Chiefs just didn't let him play. Xavier Worthy got hurt in the season opener, really never was the same. Hollywood Brown, just major disappointment. Major disappointment. I really thought that I really thought we'd see a 1,000-yard receiver out of Hollywood Brown. I don't know the exact number. I want to tell you he had about 400 yards, Didn't even play the year before, and we gave him $12 million last year, $10 million this year, and we got about 500 yards out of him. Good for him, but bad for Chiefs. So, Love at 9, defense at 29. Gooch, if you get a chance, check out my mock draft, but Love's not going to be available at 9. Love is not going to be available at 9, and that's why I've been mocking a trade to the Giants at 5 because Love's going top 5. Love's not going to be available at 9. He's going to be gone at 5. And check out my mock draft, but I have him already gone by the time the Giants get on the board at 5, but 5's the absolute latest Love's going to go. And that's kind of why I think it's a good move for the Chiefs to stockpile draft picks, because we may need those draft picks to get Love. We may, I'm not exaggerating, we may have to give up 9 and 29 plus to get Love. So, Dan, I really think Montgomery can do some serious damage in that Houston offense. I think so too. It's a really, really, here's a deal. Houston, that was, I thought that if it didn't have that major snowstorm, I think they play in normal conditions. I think Houston wins that game. I think Houston advances to the Super Bowl. And from there, who knows? You never know. But David Montgomery is an excellent running back. Houston has some things. They traded away 2 of their offensive line starters, so they got to fix that. They gave up a lot to get Montgomery. They gave up a starter in their offensive line, and a 4 and a 7. So, where do I think Kenneth Walker ends up? I think he ends up back in Seattle. I really do. Seattle has a lot of players. Believe it or not, they have a lot of players that they could lose in free agency. I think Kenneth, if I'm Kenneth Walker and I get more money to go Tennessee, trying to think of somewhere else that he could go. Maybe the Giants. Would you really want to give up? Would you really want to, if it's significant enough, I get it, you got to do it. But, if you're talking about difference between 25 and 30 million, which is huge to me, probably not big to him, I would stay in Seattle. People always think that you can get a hometown discount. That's not really true. Every fan base thinks that their team, they're a player they like is going to take a hometown discount. That's not true. But in Kenneth Walker's case, would he and should he take a hometown discount to stay in Seattle? Yeah, he should. That's probably where you're going to have your best results. In Seattle. And ultimately, I think Walker will end up in Seattle. I think he'll take a little less than he could get somewhere else and stay in Seattle. Yeah. Boy Mafe, he's probably going to be gone. Tyreek Woolen, starting corner, he's probably going to be gone. One of their offensive linemen, I think, is also a free agent, probably going to be gone. And and that he could parlay that into a big money. I mean, the Giants could use a running back. I think that Tennessee's an interesting spot too. They got a lot of money. And Tony Pollard's a good, not great runner. And another thing, Robert Saleh has seen how good Kenneth Walker could be. So, those are 2 teams just right off the top of my head. But the question is, where do I think Kenneth Walker ends up? I think he stays in Seattle because I think he'll get some money from Seattle, and I think he realizes that he's in a really good situation there. And if you're the Seahawks, listen, edge rusher, corner, running back, which one is going to cost the least? And it's going to be the running back position. And in Kenneth Walker's representations, probably not, hopefully they're not telling him, to ask for $20 million a year. Hopefully they're saying, listen, look, Seattle, you're happy there. You're in a good system. Take a 3-year. Realistically, he could get a 3-year, $40 million deal, like $25 million up front, and he'd be in good shape. He's not going to get significantly more than that. And if Seattle goes ahead and does that, they can let Mafe go. They can let Ty. In my mock draft, I have Seattle taking a corner because Tyreek Woolen's one of those guys that some team's going to say, "Hey, look, you're 6'3", you're 200, you're on a 4.3. We're gonna break the bank to get you." Boy, Mafe's a guy that I've always been a big fan of. He's another guy. So, yeah. Well, they're not going to have $50 million, but they are going to have some money. They are going to have some money. I don't think they're going to have $50 million, but Chris Jones is going to restructure his contract. I think the Chiefs in free agency will end up spending some money on a right tackle. I think what will happen is they're going to get like a younger second tier tackle. To be perfectly honest, they're going to get the same caliber of player Jawan Taylor is. But this time they're not going to pay $20 million. They'll probably pay between $10 and $15 million. Just off the top of my head, I don't know the right tackles that are going to be available. But I think what they're going to do is spend some money, get a right tackle, and possibly a running back. Curious to see what my Packers do. We're losing a few starters: Jenkins, Walker, Dubs, Gary, and Mike is coughing off an ACL tear. I'll tell you what. Please watch the video. But I put in who I think the Packers take in the second round, and I'll give you a spoiler. I have them taking Jacob Rodriguez, the linebacker out of Texas Tech. He'll replace Quay Walker, who the Packers declined the fifth-year option. I think they'll let Walker. I think they're not happy with Quay Walker. Just personal opinion. I think they're going to walk away from Walker. Jenkins, Stubbs, and Gary. That's tough. I think you let Gary go. I think you let Walker go. I would sign Dobbs personally, and Jenkins is a tough one. I could go both ways on Jenkins. Exactly. That's why I think they do it. I think Rodriguez and Cooper. And Rodriguez, I say this word for word in the video. Rodriguez will be a fan favorite sooner than later. Yeah. We had trouble. Well, you don't have a first round pick. You used it for Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons is your first round pick. So, but in the second round, so what I did is I did picks 1 through 32, and then Atlanta, the Colts, the Packers, and the Jaguars. I do those picks, but I actually did a full 2-round mock draft. I only just put the full first round in there. I didn't put a second round in there, but I did do a second round mock draft. I really liked Lucas Van Ness. To tell you the truth, I really wanted him in Kansas City, and it's going to be interesting because he's going to be on his third different defensive coordinator, but that's a guy that has a lot of potential, and that's kind of why I think you're going to let Gary go. I think you're going to just throw Lucas Van Ness out there and say, hey, just figure it out. You got the athleticism and the ability. Just make it work. I expect Golden to have a big second year as well. He showed flashes. Golden's a guy that really, I watched him play several times and I liked him, but I thought he was a second round player, and I never saw I don't know, I'll say this without something super egotistical. I've watched a lot of football. I know what 4.2 speed looks like, and Golden's not a 4.2 guy, but he ran a 4.29 at the combine, and that's what got him a lot of first round buzz. He's not a 4.29 guy, and he's a good player. But when I watched him at Texas, I thought he was more of a solid 2. Where you watch his combine and you're like, that's number 1. And I think the Packers kind of bought into that. Case in point, JSN, I watched him in college. That's a number 1. I watched Golden play in college. I'm like, that's a number 2. And I don't know you're ever going to get a big year. I mean, you're not getting a GSN type of player. That's kind of why. So here's the drill. I think you lose Walker, and I think you can replace him in the second round, which I think they'll do. You can lose Gary, you have Lucas Van Ness, of course, Micah Parsons will come back. Jenkins, I'm on the fence about. And but the thing is with Dobbs, because he's not going to get that number 1 money, I think you re-sign him and you're in really, really, really good shape. His Jack's really good. He needs more targets, quick intermediate passes. I think you had a lot of issues with your offense last year as well. Love wasn't. He was banged up. I'm not sold on your offensive line at all either. But I think I think Golden's just a guy that you shouldn't have taken in the first round. I get why you did it. The value was there, especially after the combine. When you get a guy, I mean, he didn't. Here's the deal: at Texas, he didn't drop a lot of passes. He was extremely solid. It's just that I never saw that deep speed that equates to anything related to a 4.29. I mean, to me, he looked like a 4.49 guy. On a fast track, maybe he would run a 4.39. So, but it'll be interesting. But I mean, if you don't mind, please check out the whole video. But if you just skip to the very end, I got the Packers taking Jacob Rodriguez, and you put him in Adrian Cooper, and you're in really, really good shape. Really good shape. We lost Tucker Kraft off. Yeah, Tucker Kraft's amazing. It's kind of funny because you drafted Tucker Kraft and the kid out of Oregon State, and I kind of can't think of his name. The kid out of Oregon State was recovering from an ACL tear, but they thought that last year he would be the better one, and Kraft is easily the better one. Do you think Kyler Murray can have a career resurgence? Depends where he goes and what kind of offense and what they're expecting of him. It's going to be interesting because I think Miami is thinking about taking either Murray or Malik Willis, your backup, and it's going to kind of determine what they're going to do. I toyed around with having Miami draft Ty Simpson at 11. And just saying, hey, look, we're going to start rebuilding now. But I think they would. I just think that would be a terrible move. But Malik Willis or Kyler Murray in Miami would make a lot of sense. If Murray goes to Miami and they fix the offensive line, they keep A-Chain, and the defense steps up, which I didn't think the defense was really that bad. But you have a defensive-minded coach taking over. It's going to be kind of interesting to see what Miami does. Miami's going to be a very interesting team. But I think Kyler Murray could end up in Miami. So if he ends up in Miami, I think that would be kind of his best situation because he can do everything Tua did, and I think he can do a little more. If he goes somewhere like the Jets, no. I think the Jets are a disaster, even though they have a ton of draft capital. So if he goes to the Jets, no. If he goes to Miami, that will be interesting. If he goes somewhere, if I was Kyler Murray and I could choose anywhere I'd want to go, it would be Minnesota. Yeah, Clown Speaker, what's up, brother? Yeah, if I was Kyler Murray, I would beg to go to Minnesota, and I would just say, hey, man, let me just start over from scratch because you got so many weapons. You got a chance. Let's just say you signed a 1-year deal in Minnesota, you can do the same thing that that Sam Darnold did. I mean, it's really a shame because that I have a buddy of mine. He's a Vikings fan, and he's like, we got a Super Bowl roster, and we just need a quarterback. And I said, that look, they're doing the same thing the Chiefs did. They had an established starter in Alex Smith. They drafted Mahomes. I get the logic. That's what's going to happen. And he kept on arguing with me. He's like, no, we're going to re-sign Darnold. We're going to go this. We're going to do that. And I said, no. I said, no, you're going to start J.J. McCarthy, and you're going to sink or swim with the kid. This is what's going to happen. He kept on trying to tell me, no, we're going to re-sign Darnold. We're going to get Aaron Rodgers. I said, you're going to do none of those things, man. You're going to go with J.J. McCarthy. And Andre, I'm with you because I watched him play in college a lot. I never saw a first-round pick. I didn't see a first-round quarterback at all. I saw a team that leaned on the running game. I saw an athletic kid who did not have an NFL arm, and I saw a guy that did not know how to process like an NFL quarterback. I don't know what people kept. I go back to my draft videos. I knew he was going in the first round. I didn't see what everybody else saw. I just didn't. I never did. I saw a team that relied on the run game, that had an elite defense. I never saw what people saw out of J.J. McCarthy. Michael Penix I was very high on. I liked Bo Nix a little more than most. I like Jaden Daniels. I didn't like Caleb Williams, but you can see the talent. I mean, the talent is generational. I didn't like what's upstairs, but I think Ben Johnson's doing some good things there with him. His release, Dan, everything looks so telegraphed. Like I could tell, Here's the thing. He was injured, and it looked like when he came back, he looked like a rookie. And no one ever said this publicly, but I have to imagine that when he was recovering, I don't think that somebody explained. I don't think anybody told him, hey, listen, when you're injured, you need to learn how to do these things. You need to learn this playbook forwards and backwards. And it just, I don't think he did, or he doesn't have the ability to do that. Some things are different too when you turn on the lights. I saw this in the Brady 6. San Francisco had an opportunity to take Tom Brady. They took a different kid. I can't remember the kid's name. Played at Hofstra. I remember that. And he was everything you wanted in an NFL quarterback. And in practice, he looked like he was going to be the next great thing. You put him out on the field, you turn on the big lights, and he just wasn't the same. And you think that guy from Michigan would be able to handle that. Maybe that's not the issue, but it doesn't look like everything's clicked. It looks like he looked confused. He had some moments. But all in all, yeah. But no, I never understood what people saw in him because I didn't see it. I think the trade of Trent McDuffie to the Los Angeles Rams is a bold move that helps the Rams get a great defensive player right now. The Rams get a huge advantage from this. Clown Speaker, you're spitting facts, brother. As of right now, as of today, the Rams are the favorite to win the 2026 Super Bowl. They had one glaring weakness going into this offseason, and that was corner. Now they had their starting right tackle retire. Now they do have DJ Humphries, who is former number 1 round pick. He'll probably get an opportunity to start, but the Rams pick 13th, and they no longer need a corner. So the Rams are in excellent shape. They are the favorite to win Super Bowl 2026. That's not a debate. That's not a debate. The Chiefs get a lot of draft capital, and they have to take advantage of this. The last time this happened, when they traded Tyreek Hill, they took advantage of that draft capital, and they used it to get Trent McDuffie, George Karlaftis, and a bunch of other players that helped them win a couple Super Bowls. Unfortunately, Trent McDuffie and a lot of those players now want to get paid. So the Chiefs are trying to redo the process, and hopefully they can do the same thing. But I'm a Chiefs fan, so yeah, that's what I want. But yeah, the Rams are the favorite to win the Super Bowl. That is not an opinion. That is a fact. Did they give up more? More? Yeah. But if they win a Super Bowl, who cares? They gave up. Remember the Rams overpaid for Von Miller, the 1-year rental of Von Miller. They won a Super Bowl. And so, there we go. Quick question. Why do people always think the Chiefs are the best team and all they do is give all the credit to Mahomes? Like, what about the other players did an equal amount of work? Why do people think the Chiefs are the best team? It's just from the level of success that they had. I mean, they went to 7 straight AFC championship games. The Patriots did that also, and the Patriots, they were a dynasty. So the past success, that has a lot to do with it. And quarterbacks get way more credit than they deserve, and they get way more blame than they deserve. And maybe it's fair, maybe it's not. A lot of people look at Sam Darnold and give him credit for all those wins, but I mean, what did Sam Darnold do to really win that Super Bowl? I mean, Kenneth Walker was MVP. The defense just destroyed New England. Darnold didn't do much, but we talked about Darnold. Turn on TV, you hear a lot about Sam Darnold. I mean, they take a look at. I'm going to tell you something. Without Chris Jones, Chiefs don't win any of those Super Bowls. Without Travis Kelce, Chiefs don't win any of those Super Bowls. McDuffie, by the way, was a big part of those Super Bowl wins. So, but with the first part of your question is why do people always think the Chiefs are the best team? It's just to do with the past success and all of that, and then all the credit to Mahomes. Well, it's in the NFL, quarterbacks get way more credit and way more blame. That's all it is. I'm a Chiefs fan, so I'm a little biased. I think Mahomes is the best quarterback and the best player in football, but there's a lot of players that contributed to Super Bowls. So, yeah, the Honey Badger, the Chiefs don't win that first Super Bowl without the Honey Badger. They don't do it. Do you think the Ravens should do a draft trade for Rashad Bateman? I'd be curious what they could get for Bateman, to be perfectly honest. Clown Speaker, do me a favor. Oh, you know what? I'm going to do this real fast here. I'm going to put the link in here. I should have done this before I went on. Please, if you don't mind, check out my draft video, which I just released a few hours ago. I put the link in the chat here, but check it out. Spoiler alert. I have the Ravens drafting Mekhi Lemon, wide receiver out of USC. And if that's the case, and if the Ravens are interested in drafting a receiver, should they trade Rashad Bateman? Absolutely. Absolutely. What you're going to get out of him is very questionable because this is a loaded wide receiver draft. I mean, this is one of the best wide receiver drafts in recent history. So you're not going to get much. I mean, you're really not going to get much. I mean, you're because you brought it up, I'm going to assume that you think the Ravens may be able to get like a second or a third. In reality, they're probably looking at maybe getting a fifth or a sixth. And the only reason why is that there's so many receivers in this draft class. In fact, let me just see right off the top of my head. 1, 2. All right. Oh, okay. Hold on here. I got. Okay. My example is not very good, but I was going to say in my mock draft I have 4, but there's just a lot of receivers. Hey, listen, thanks, brother. I appreciate it, man. I really appreciate it, Clown Speaker. I hope to hear. Hey, man, listen. Come back later. Come back anytime, brother. I'm glad you joined, and I hope to see you again. This was just impromptu. I just wanted to come on and talk about the Trent McDuffie trade. Thanks for all the questions, man. I really appreciate it. And I'm just going to end things here. Feel free to drop a comment below. I answer all questions, and I'll be back next Wednesday for another mock draft. This time with the Chiefs picking at 29. Take care, and hope to see you back next Wednesday.